guys, it's Miss Hall. We are going to be working on a new unit about value and form. Today we're going to be talking about value and value scales. Our lesson objectives, or our I can statements, there it is, our I can statement for this particular part of our lesson is I can create light, medium, and dark values using pencil. And I can identify and use a value scale. So we're going to be talking about those two things today. We're also going to be looking at an artist, and his name is Chuck Close. We're going to be looking at how he used value in his paintings. So first of all, let me Okay, there we go. Okay, so when working with value, the way that we can create different kinds of values, and you can look here on my paper, the way that we can create different kinds of values is by the amount of pressure that we put on our pencil when we're drawing. So for instance, if I'm going to make a light value, then I'm just going to sketch super lightly. Okay, to make a medium value, I'm going to push a little bit harder, and you can see how that value has changed. To make a dark value, I'm going to push even harder. So a value scale is a range from lightest to darkest. So each one of these increments is a value. Okay, a light value all the way to the darkest value. And we're going to be using our pencil to create this first value scale. Some people like to work in either direction, from light to dark or dark to light. I am going to start from the lightest side, even though it's on the wrong side of the paper. And I'm just going to leave this first one empty because white would be the lightest value. The next one, I'm going to color it in super lightly. Again, just using my pencil, as light as I can. Okay, and you can hardly see, but this is just slightly darker than this one is. The next one, I'm going to push a little bit harder. Or what else I can do is I can actually just put another layer over the top of my first value. I'm filling in the edges here. So to make it a tad bit darker, I'm just going to put a second layer over. Okay, and now you can see that it is, in fact, darker than this one. So moving to the left, I'm going to make it even darker this time. And each time we move to the left, our value scale is going to get darker than it was in the place before. And the way that I'm controlling that value is just by pushing a little bit harder on my pencil or adding another layer of pencil. If you get to a point where your values look to be the same, one way that you can change this is just by going back over it, pushing a little bit harder. Now you can always add to your value, but you can never take it away. So you can't erase to make it lighter. So make sure that you're not going too dark right off the bat, because you can't take that back. So hopefully we're getting the idea. A little bit darker each time. That one I think can probably go a little bit darker. Move my paper here so I can reach it. Now we're never pushing so hard on our pencil that it's going to break, but we are pushing a little bit harder each time. And now this last one, I'm going to color it in as dark as I can. So each one of these squares is a different value. And our value scale is complete. Now, once you have your value scale done, then I want you to take a look at it, and I want you to evaluate it and see if each one of these increments gets darker, 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 darker. Okay, I'm looking at mine, and it looks like these three here are very, very similar. So when I go back to do my next value scale, I'm going to make those three a little bit, and pay a little bit more attention to those three and make sure that I'm making different increments, different values in those three areas. So I would again start my second value scale. This time we're going to review and we're going to edit on this one. So again, I would start super light, leaving the first one empty because white is our lightest value. Get a little bit darker each time. That one looks pretty close, so I'm just going to add a little bit more to it. And it is difficult to get so many different values, but what we're practicing here is using the different pressures of our pencil, the different amount of pressure on our pencil to create a various value. Okay, and I'm not going to go through this whole one. I think you guys get the idea. The last value scale that we have at the bottom of our paper, we're going to use color for that one. So you can choose one color of colored pencil. You're going to do the exact same process, but this time with a color, and it can be any color that you want. You have to stick with the same color. You can't switch colors in the middle of your value scale. But we want to see how value can change in color as well. This time, they're looking a little bit better. This one I still think can go a little bit darker. Okay, yeah, so there is a definite difference between this darker value and this one. It's slight, but it is there. Okay. So, moving on, let's see, we did our first value scale, we did our second value scale, we talked about the third, which would be color. So, I think that's it for our video thus far for today. Take your time, do your best work, make sure that you can redo it if you need to. You can always, let me move my screen over here. There you go. So we can always try again. This is practice, just like in anything, any kind of sport, any kind of extracurricular activity. Practice makes perfect. So don't be frustrated if it takes a while. Don't be frustrated if you don't get it right off the bat. Practice, practice, practice. This is something that you can do in your own time as well. So I hope you enjoy it, and we will be using all of this knowledge from our value scale in next week's lesson as well. So, see you later.